Today we're talking about how do you start to coordinate multiple marketing teams. In larger organizations, there are certain coordination points that you need to have in order to stay aligned. We need to synchronize the various marketing teams, and we need to operate on a similar cadence so that we can deliver effectively. If you're a smaller marketing organization, I'd say less than 50 people or so, you can probably just continue to operate in your normal Agile ways, and the synchronization will happen through perhaps status updates or regular communication channels. However, when you get into larger organizations, you really need to think through how the different layers of the organization can connect. Without that connective glue, you're going to have competing priorities that will derail your agile marketing teams. So how do we start to do that? The first thing I'd like to advocate for is for a series of connected backlogs. So think about the layers of your organization. You might have a C-level. Underneath that, you might have an executive level made up of executive vice presidents or vice presidents. Underneath that, you might have a series of middle managers, and then you might have individual contributors. So individual contributor work is managed through the team backlog, and we know through Agile practices how that works. The next level up is more of a program level, and at that level, we've taken the strategies of marketing and we've started to break it down into programs. It's up to the program managers to coordinate with each other and decide what are those top priorities for the teams. And it's very important that they get aligned because, just like I described in the beginning, if you don't have that alignment amongst the different program managers, what you're going to end up with is people who are coming in with sideways work, team members that get confused because program manager A had their priority and program manager B had a different priority, and the prioritization gets all messed up. So you've got a team level backlog, you might have a program level backlog, and then you might have a more strategic executive level backlog. In the Scaled Agile framework, we call that the portfolio level backlog. And that's often larger initiatives that require a specific amount of funding and longer time horizons to get things done. So if we think of these backlogs in terms of duration, we might say that a portfolio backlog item lasts 1 or more quarters. In fact, if you were talking about implementing a new marketing technology system, if it was essentially changing out that backbone, that could be a year or longer. At the program level, we're trying to keep items in that backlog to a quarter or less. Again, we're looking for flow through the system, and so we're looking to size that appropriately. Versus the team level backlog, which, again, if we're practicing something like Scrum, we're looking to get those items through the system in probably two weeks or less, 1 or 2 sprints at the most. So we've got our series of connected backlogs, and these, by the way, should all relate to each other, right? The strategy breaks down into the programs break down into team level deliverables. Because of this, we need a matching set of cadence and synchronization. So we know at the team level that we typically have a daily or so stand-up so that the team can stay aligned. At that program level, we're typically looking at a scrum of scrums that meets once or twice a week, as well as a program manager sync, which typically would meet every couple of weeks throughout a quarterly cycle in order to stay aligned to the shared milestones and objectives of those various programs. At that executive level, we're going to want to see a cadence where we're refreshing the strategy, touching base on what's going on at least once a quarter, so every 8 to 12 weeks or so. And in that way, we create these virtuous bidirectional cycles where teams are communicating up to programs, which are communicating up to executives, and executives are communicating down into the programs and down into the teams. This type of bidirectional communication is so critical in staying aligned. And it's a real difference from the ad hoc way that we often approach work today. And even if we do have quarterly plans, oftentimes they're not coordinated across executives or across program managers so that we have a shared prioritization. We have shared objectives. So by introducing both a shared or an aligned backlog system that has shared cadence and synchronization, we're able to ensure that alignment to the most important work and the most important value that we're working towards for our customers. And that's just one great way where we're able to achieve organizational team excellence in our organizations.